and courageous people in charge. So basically, organized labor power would be strengthened, well, to a telepathic level. Once you are put the leadership at a level of telepathic scrutiny, and you're willing to go there yourself, or if you're not willing to go there yourself, at least support the beings that are willing to do it. That'll put the most intelligent people in charge of whatever they're doing, in charge of what they're doing. Intellectuals and higher education of free expression would be empowered, and they would be in charge. And the sainthood would be held to a telepathic standard. Okay, we would we'd have to change the protocol of law enforcement. So if law enforcement were to actually make the decision to arrest somebody, you would actually restrain them at that point and take them directly into an agreement center. And we would be upgrading the court to an agreement center, which is all done telepathically. So anybody that walked in there would be held to a telepathic standard. Right now, if someone's arrested, it's just a bunch of paperwork gets done, and people sit in jail until whatever, and then a lot of the investigations that get done are not even done appropriately or honestly. Whereas if and it wouldn't be, people wouldn't be working as police officers anymore, they'd be working as saints, but they would immediately take whatever being that they restrain that they feel is not fit for society and needs to be locked in a cage, right up into a telepathic environment, a telepathic forum where everybody involved is justifying their actions at a telepathic level with the laws of the universe. All emergency service and military would be completely informed on a planetary scale, and you would not be subject to mind control at all. And in fact, any mind control that has been performed on you would be reversed, so you could expand your consciousness in the appropriate way. And then working at that level, you would all have to be willing to take responsibility for your own actions, or and if you're not willing to do that, or you're not in a position or not prepared to take responsibility for your own actions, it's not like you're going to be out of a job. It's just that you wouldn't be in a position where people are following you, and that's all. And that's just in the process of preventing the unnecessary recycling of souls. Elections would be done via the Q-Study website and protected from manipulation and fraudulent elections, and we could actually hold the elections to a telepathic standard if the human race chooses to do that. There are ways to do that. The entire judicial system would be held to a telepathic standard, and we'd actually be upgrading the courthouse to an agreement center where everybody in the agreement center would be held to a telepathic standard. Everybody across the board. It would be a telepathic environment. So you'd have to definitely be working with complete honesty. And that's it. And all lawyers and attorneys would be promoted. In the process of promoting a lawyer or an attorney to a saint, you'd be doing sovereignty counseling and teaching the lexicon for a living being and how to actually avoid court. And you'd be working, instead of working with all the laws that you're working with now, you'd be primarily working with the laws of nature, the laws of creation, and the laws of the universe. Because in regards to the your consciousness achieving a higher level of existence, those are the ones that matter. Some definitions that you should be, or at least one definition that you should be aware of, is corporation. The definition of a corporation is an artificial being, invisible, intangible, and existing only in the contemplation of law. In other words, a corporation does not exist in reality. It doesn't exist. So when someone says the corporation said it, well, they're saying someone's not willing to take responsibility for their actions, and I'm just giving you the message to get you to do whatever it is I'm telling you to do. And most likely when they're doing that, they could also back that up with, oh yeah, and your soul's going to get recycled if you do it too. So, and that's a problem for 9 out of 10 people. And that's basically that. So, you got a government that's dishonest and secretive using black magic, and you want to upgrade that to a government who's honest and telepathic and using white magic. And that's all. That's all that needs to be said there. So, and then I talked about the castles. Basically, what's got to happen in these castles, and how we're going to get these castles, well, with the Omni card. And this will be done in full view of the entire human race, no one left out, and everybody would be welcome to come into this castle and help, work there, be a student there, whatever, at least go through to get the truth and release you from all forms of mind control, unplug you from a three-dimensional grid, activate your pineal gland, activate your Merkaba, make extraterrestrial contact, and you'd be good. So basically, oh yeah, and evolution throughout the dimensions. So we're talking. I'm going to explain a very large castle here, with hundreds of rooms in it, but they don't have to be very large. You only need maybe 30 or 40 different rooms per castle. But if there were hundreds of rooms, that would be good too. And so I'm just going to describe the main castles and the main headquarter castles. You would want one room for every dimension. And so basically, you would want to dedicate one room to replicate every dimension between 3 and 144. And unlike when I created a 4-dimensional nonlinear replica in the Magic Castle, we're going to add the clause where everybody communicates clearly, directly, and honestly, so we can just evolve right up through, and I don't get stuck in another TV show. So in this Magic Castle, you want that. You want a school of remembering there, awakening the illuminated heart. That'll take care of your pineal gland and your Merkaba. Then you want a C SETI, ambassador to the universe training. That way, and you can get this done all in one spot. So then you make extraterrestrial contact. You'd want white magic healing, so that healing that would actually get to the point where, if you were in the military and got your arms blown off, you could actually go into this healing center and get your arm morphed right back on with magic, and that's completely possible. Then you'd also want a room dedicated to 0-point energy, vacuum energy. You'd also want another room dedicated to cold fusion generation, and that would be to clean up the environment, the planet, and the oceans. And that technology is already up and running. It's just all suppressed. You can't get it out there because somebody comes up to you with guns and starts threatening you. But that'd be done in the Magic Castle. You'd want a landing area for intentional, consensual extraterrestrial contact in the physical. So the spaceships come in. If there's something that our galactic brothers and sisters need, they come in, land right there, and we could actually help them and make open public contact. There would be professional guided experience with natural resources like DMT, ayahuasca, shrooms, etc., where you get to experience these things from a professional, someone who really, really knows what they're doing. And so wouldn't be used as a partying thing anymore. It would be used under the direct supervision of somebody who really, a spiritual guru who knows all about it. But that is available to the human race, but it's not as available as it should be. So we'd bring that right through. Then you'd want to You'd want to run QSETI right out of this Magic Castle too, and you'd want to do planetary newscasting. And in the process of this planetary newscasting, you'd want to make that specific for each industry. So no matter what military you're in, there'll be news on a planetary scale, and it focused specifically on that military. Or if you're a doctor in a certain hospital, you'll be exposed to news on a planetary scale, but in reference to your particular job in your particular area. So and that it would be like that for every single industry, linemen, everything. Then you'd have past life regression at the communistic level, and that's where you get to experience other lives and switch dimensions and things like that. But that would be, you'd want to make that available in the castle. Then you'd also want a Bio-Cybernaut Institute in the castle. You'd have to have one of those, or maybe a couple of them. And then you want a room for each superpower. So if you want to learn how to fly, there'll be a specific instructor and a room there to teach you how to fly. If you want to do pyrokinesis, there'll be a professional there to teach you, a sorcerer or whoever knows how to do it there to teach you. And a stepping stone to this is this website and the quantum computer. But the step up after that would be this. And so basically the homework here would just be to investigate all the castles on the earth and choose 400 of them, and